Hello, folks. Hello. Welcome to the latest in our series of Grow CFO Tech webinars. And we are really concentrating this afternoon on the AI adoption gap in finance and how to close it. And I thought no better way to do this than bring a CFO along who has gone down that journey a reasonable way. Now, Pauline is really interesting in Spendesk because not only is she a CFO adopting AI in her own team, she's also acting as a customer of her own product and being the first to test out the AI that's arriving in that product. So I think Pauline is in a really, really great place to give us a masterclass on how to adopt AI this afternoon. I know that a lot of you are struggling with this. There's so much information out there that you're almost paralyzed by it, and where to start is always the question. And we're going to address that this afternoon. I'm Kevin Appleby. I am COO at Grow CFO and also the host of the Grow CFO podcast, which you can pick up every week, the Grow CFO show on all of the podcast channels. Now, I know that this one of the places that you come across Grow CFOs is in webinars such as this, but you might not really come across us anywhere else and know what we actually do. And our main thing is a training business. We're in learning development for CFOs and their teams. We offer one-to-one mentoring for CFOs, finance leaders. We offer the CFO program, 12-month program for existing CFOs, and a 12-month future CFO program for aspiring CFOs. We're offering team training right across the finance team, which includes boot camps in finance business partnering, in FP&A, and a lot of stuff now in our team training around AI. We've got webinars like this, the podcasts I mentioned, and if you go to our website, you can see blogs and posts and research on all sorts of things. But enough about us and on with the webinar. Before we begin, Pauline and I are going to do this as a fireside chat this afternoon. There'll be one or two slides, but it'll mostly be us talking to each other. So as we go, send us your questions. The Q&A will be open all the way through the webinar. If it's appropriate, I'll ask the questions as we go along, but we've got a slot towards the end for Q&A. And we're recording, so please watch the recording on demand if you want to go back to this. Okay, so that's enough of me sharing screen. Pauline, welcome to the webinar.
Thank you, Kevin.
Pauline, just tell us a little bit more about you and about Spendesk.
All right. And hi, everyone. Very pleased to be with you today for this webinar. I'm Pauline Babel. I'm the CFO of Spendesk. So just like you, like many of you, I spend my days navigating, like driving profitable growth while optimizing every resource, building high-performing teams with a lot of pressure and balancing investor expectations with operational reality. At Spendesk, we've gone from restructuring to reigniting growth, and honestly, the pressure to embrace AI and build a coherent strategy fast is keeping me up at night quite a bit. But I've learned that the difference between surviving and thriving comes down to the right frameworks at the right time and being willing to learn this with you in public. So no theory today, just what's working in the trenches, including how I'm tackling the AI question. And a bit about Spendesk. Spendesk, we are empowering finance leaders with a unified spend management platform, combining virtual cards, subscription control, fraud detection, and automated bookkeeping, delivering real-time visibility and tighter budget control, while freeing the teams, to focus on the business and strategic priorities.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, Pauline, you've had quite a journey with AI. Let's start with your awakening moment. What actually changed your mind from skeptic to becoming a champion?
Um, Well, I think like many of you, I spend a lot of time drafting a lot of commentaries, every time in a very manual mode. It feels every month is a new, it's like repeating again. It's an endless task. And at some point, I tried almost 18 months ago, ChatGPT at the time, to draft the first set of my commentaries for my monthly performance review. And it happened that in 10 seconds, with one very simplified tab of my P&L and commercial dashboard. The commentaries came in 10 seconds with a quite qualitative with quite qualitative insights. And then I think I kind of had a like realization moments that AI might augment a lot my productivity as a finance leader and might also augment the productivity of my teams. And I was already a customer myself of solutions like Spendesk to automate more our financial processes. And then I decided to join them and to be, let's say, first user of like fintech new technologies at the service of finance leaders, but also like maintain my role as a CFO as I really like I'm a bit passionate about what I do for the past 10 years.
Brilliant, brilliant. Um, Pauline, I've just noticed somebody in chat saying there's a lot of feedback on the sound. Do you notice any feedback your end?
No, I don't have
No,
any.
that's coming through fine for me as well. If anybody else is suffering from that, can you please just say something in the chat? I know, Richard, you've mentioned it. Other people are saying it's fine. I can see the problem, Richard. You signed in twice. That's why you've got feedback. Right. Okay. Enough of the tech problems, Pauline. But I think the problem that a lot of people have got is where to start. And you focused on AP and spend management instead of maybe something like strategic FP&A first. What was your reasoning behind where to? Oh, we've missed something. We've missed something, Pauline. Um, we were going to ask for the poll, weren't we?
Yes, we've
Yes,
missed the poll,
yes,
Kevin.
we've missed the poll. Silly us, silly us. Because we were going to ask you folk, um, where are you on your AI adoption journey? No, haven't started yet, still exploring, running pilots or testing AI in specific area, rolling out AI across multiple workflows, or AI is embedded in daily operations. Now, now we've been talking about AI now for, gosh, when did ChatGPT launch? Gosh, nearly 2 years ago. So I would expect nearly all of you now will be embedding it in daily operations across the business. Yeah. Okay. Give folk a few moments just to finish that off. Shall we have a look at the results, Pauline?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Oh, one person has said AI is embedded in daily operations. Now, we've got 100 plus people in this webinar. One person. So, haven't started yet, still exploring. Accounts for, gosh, nearly half of the people here. And the other half is nearly all in running pilots or testing AI in specific areas. So, yeah. Any thoughts on that, Pauline? Does that surprise you?
Well, it does not surprise me. I think that having already like 1% with embedding AI in the daily ops, I'm pretty impressed because I would consider myself and my team between, running pilot and rolling out AI, depending on
Okay.
like the agentic AI or assistive AI. But at the end, I think it's a good representation of where we are as CFOs, right?
Yeah. So there's still a big journey to go on. But
Yes.
85 people, 85% of people, I reckon, are probably pretty optimistic around what AI and what it can do. 60% haven't implemented yet. And that's borne out absolutely in that poll. Yeah. So sorry, Pauline, I asked you that question about where you actually started. Now, I know you started in AP and spend management rather than something more complicated like FP&A. What was your thinking behind that?
Well, I think that the question about where to start, it began even before AI. It was about like getting more tasks automated and less manual work. So I would say that the thinking was the same even 5 years ago, looking for new tools, but now it's like even accelerating with the potential AI is bringing to our to optimize our operations. So why focusing on AP and let's say spend management or let's say spendings and OPEX, and why not strategic FP&A? I think because AP workflows are the most repetitive, rule-based, and high volume transactions that we are currently facing, with sometimes quick wins that can build the confidence with AI and new solutions faster. And AP and spend is also the part where our internal customers, the operation people, can see time saving on their side as well. So I think that the pain points of nobody dreams of, copy pasting invoice data in a spreadsheet. I've been doing that myself a lot just to get some analysis, by vendor, for instance. I think it comes to an end with AI. So I think there is a very good framework to use, which is the most boring task. This is a question we can all ask to our teams. And we can start, let's say, with one repetitive and high-paying task. It can be like invoice processing, getting all the cost categories, for instance, spend categories, cost center, budget owner for every single invoice, for instance. And the idea might be for this most boring task to build some like momentum around that and look at the potential of manual effort that will be less needed to perform those boring tasks and get time back to work on more strategic matter. So I think that where to start, AP is a very good one because you can free up a lot of days in your months and close very rapidly using solutions that are already on the market. Spendesk is one of them, but you have so many other tools now on the market to automate on the AP and spend workflow. And I wanted to share with you a map that I'm using myself. It's one slide. Um, this is the tech map of a, let's say, standard CFO. This is where Spendesk is using, but at the end, this is where I think we can automate the most. It's on the spend side. So I think that on procurement also, AI can bring a lot in pricing intelligence, benchmarking. I'm a big user and big fan of vendor.com for my software purchasing because it provides me a lot of data and benchmark in a very simple, plain English questioning mode. So it's like I think spend and AP are really like process we should tackle first when it comes to embed AI in our operations.
Mm.
Voilà.
Have you gone very far beyond AP? And I know there's a lot of talk in the FP&A world about using AI. Have you done anything in that area yet?
Well, I've been doing some pilots in the FP&A side to free up some times of my controllers who were, let's say, swamped like every month, every end of quarter with, couponing, discount for customers or cashback, which is another type of discount in my business. And they were like swamped with exception to approve for salespeople. So we built an agent based on guideline on cashback that were just in a tabular mode in a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. And then we worked with an agent with our enterprise solution, which is called Dust. I will get back to that a bit after, to build an agent powered by Claude Anthropic to make sure that we automate the answer based on the framework and guideline we set up on FP&A side. And after a short period of time, And it was a very boring task for my FP&A team, right? So I built the momentum. I worked with someone from billing, someone from FP&A, someone from sales, and we built an agent to automate a lot more the, let's say, the approval of those cashback or discount. So to
Mm.
me, the ROI was pretty obvious. It was to get time back from my FP&A controller while maintaining the right level of control. I was still looking at the very significant contract, but gaining a lot of time on smaller ones.
So this is all about, even going to the FP&A area, this is all about getting rid of repetitive, boring tasks. And I guess that there's a question here to the audience. I don't know if you want to answer this in chat, please, folks. Now, what's the most boring thing you do each week? Because that's probably the best place to start thinking about some AI, some agents, so on.
Yeah.
Sharon, reconciliations. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good accounting one. We spend half of our life doing reconciliations, reviewing payroll, reviewing contracts. Yeah.
Well,
And now my experience of reviewing contracts is you read the words on the page, and I think ChatGPT, for instance, is just a great tool for getting a review of a document like that. It'll very quickly tell you what's not on the page, which is much harder to spot with the human eye. Yeah. So another one, Richard as well, saying reviewing contracts. Yeah. So yeah, we've got four very, very good ones coming straight in there. Yeah. Or another one, reconciliation and payroll. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. So those are exactly the sorts of tasks we're talking about here. It's the list's pretty predictable. Yeah. And yeah, Erica saying I'm new to
okay.
this and it's pretty overwhelming. Yeah, and that's exactly why we're doing this webinar today, because this can be totally overwhelming. So, Pauline, that probably takes us into the next area we wanted to cover here. Now,
Mm.
AI comes along and there's you. You're now reasonably convinced that you want to use AI in the finance function. How do you bring the team on the journey with you?
Well, yeah, obviously, we had with my team like about 10 people between, spread across FP&A, accounting, legal, and procurement. I think we had our moment of resistance. And then I think that we are now finding our way through. But I think I can deep dive now with how we implement it at Spendesk because I think it's pretty amazing. I saw the question in the chat like what's the best LLM, and I'm not sure I'm seeing the question with this angle when it comes to bringing AI in finance up. It's more about finding the right partner and dive into it. So at Spendesk, we selected a platform which is called Dust, DUST. Not, I don't have any equity with them. They are just a LLM aggregator and a pricing model which is helping me to get an enterprise grade solution to build some agent and to remain, let's say, to keep the proprietary to the ownership of my prompting, but using Anthropic, GPT, Gemini, whatever like LLM behind. So we selected a solution that was uh, we were able to set governance properly, setting rules on data privacy, which is quite which is super important for finance people who are also the data keepers in the company usually, and to build agent and to, let's say, unlock a bit creativity across the company, including in finance teams. And running also, collaborating a lot with compliance and legal about reviewing contracts. We've been setting up some pretty good agents when it comes to embed AI in our daily ops, we've created an agent called Claire to do sales compliance check, pre-check, let's say, when we are onboarding new customers or even when we are prospecting new customers. The ROI to me is pretty obvious. It's time back for my compliance officer who was who was asked a lot on, Slack and email messages. He was pinged all the time to make some pre-checks of compliance, and now connecting the right database with our compliance framework, we were able to gain a lot of time. We at the end with this, I think that there is a cost reality behind it. Obviously, it's an investment we must make because the subscription is based on the number of API. So we were talking about integration, the number of data we are calling in our, let's say, AI platform. But at the end, it's the opportunity to build a lot of agents to test and learn and to, let's say, well, some agents are not used, but some of them are really getting a financial ROI in terms of cost, in terms of less hours spent on checking, pre-approving, or cross-checking some data sometimes for compliance in the contract reviews to get the data more easily extracted from it, benchmarked against other vendors, previous contracts, etc. And for finance people, a lot of pre-approval can be done as well.
Mm. Why did you select Dust?
Well, I think that at 8 months, and this environment is moving so fast, right? Because since we installed Dust, we had Gemini 3 released by Google in all workspaces. So we selected Dust because at the time it was a great tool to get all LLMs on the market available for us and to work with all of them, let's say, with one single contract. And then we remained, let's say, owner of all the prompting and all the agent design we've been investing time in. So that was the thing. But now, to be very honest, I'm using a lot Gemini because we are in the Google workspace, but I heard that Copilot is also super powerful with Excel. And I think we should all try to test it for FP&A purposes mainly and for reconciliations.
Yeah, and I think we've had that question coming up in the chat. So, which is the best AI to use? And the answer to that, I think, is it seems to change all the time. At the time you selected Dust, you thought that was pretty good. We're seeing now an example of perhaps you can do a lot of what you're doing in Dust in Gemini. Um, I'm using ChatGPT for a lot of the things that I do. I used to use an aggregator called Poe. I've heard a lot of people talking lately about leaps and bounds in Claude, so I might start looking at that. Now, which AI is the right AI? I don't think there's a right answer to that one, is there?
No, I really don't think so. I think we should be like remain very open and follow webinar. I think following a webinar is, I think, a pretty good way to remain up to date. But I think that what I I think was the success factor was to acknowledge that it requires some time and that we need to maybe appoint some AI champion also in the company to make sure that we bring this new culture and we push a bit like the change because we know that in finance we are a bit reluctant to change when it comes to our IT softwares or like changing rules. I'm not speaking about that. But we know how much we are not comfortable with this and test and learn when it comes to financial data where accuracy is expected at 100%. It might come a bit difficult when we know how many hallucinations are done with LLMs right now. Even when I'm doing my commentaries, for instance, using it, you cannot skip human supervision, even for AP, where we are pretty accurate, even with Spendesk AI embedded technology. we are still having a human in the loop when it comes to, months and close supervision.
So it's very much co-pilot and not an autopilot when you're
I
using it.
Yes, I think that about like it's not autopilot as you just said. I think that it's not replacing people, it's just augmenting them. We are augmenting the productivity here, so we can free up some time for more strategic work. Uh, and I think that we will be asked as finance leaders to do more with less because we know that AI can bring a lot of productivity in our finance operations. So the time saved on manual work can actually get redirected in strategic insights and even in AI prompting, maybe, triggering the need of new skills among our teams.
Yeah. So have you, we started this section of the webinar by talking about the team initially resisting. Um, has there been a concern then about job losses?
Well, I think that this is the right question to ask, but I think that the transformation is a continuum when it comes to uh, job loss. Why? We have Obviously, I think that like the accountants back 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I was an auditor. I was facing some, reviewing AP section. I was facing a lot of AP clerk working on like really like payables, reconciliation, sometimes having, real folders to bring at my customers. I think that now at Spendesk, using our own product, we don't have anymore an AP team or an AP accountant working on that. I have people with sometimes bachelor degree in accounting, with some skills in not really like fluent in prompting, but able to manage reconciliation, spreadsheets, and using a tool who's like powered by AI. So I think that there is a job blurring and job profiles are changing, but I'm not sure that at the end we will see a lot of job losses due to that. We must obviously train ourselves and invest a bit in training to make sure that some skills are not getting outdated too fast.
Yeah.
But I think that was already the case with ERPs 10 years or 15 years ago. At the end, we have more accountants and more people working in finance today than before.
Yeah, and that's exactly why within the learning part of the Grow CFO business, we're putting together lots and lots of courses ourselves on AI because people need to pick up these skills very, very quickly. But Pauline, how do you measure in your business that AI is actually working?
Um, well, about like measuring ROI, I think three typical ways to measure savings and how it's working. When it comes to finance operations, we need to we have to track like either the time spent to do a task. Therefore, we need to track it like religiously. When it comes to my accounting team, it can be the time to close the books every month from 6 days that can be reduced to 2 to 3 days, regardless the size of the company, with some automated workflows. And when it comes to the time saved, for instance, for me, it's more about like, getting all my board materials consistency check done by AI rather than myself at night. Um, I think it can be pretty powerful for finance leaders' productivity as well. So time saved might be the first thing to track when automated something using an agent. And definitely accuracy back to AP. When we are using a lot of manual work to do reconciliation, we know how much a reconciliation in a spreadsheet can include mistakes because the sum is not properly done in a tab, or the VLOOKUP is not matching from a month to another because of a new vendor, etc. Using some AI tool can improve accuracy and therefore the time to close or the time to produce finance KPIs. So I think this is another way to measure. And the for instance, like invoice duplicates in the books. It can take a lot of time to chase manually. With some good technology with OCR and let's say algorithms, it can be done quite easily with like 100% accuracy quite soon. And then let's not forget this one. Regardless, like even if you want to invest a lot, if the users, if people like finance people are not using the tools, therefore you're paying for something which is not, let's say, you don't have any return on investment. So I think that it's super important to track the percentage of team using AI daily. This is what we do at Spendesk across all departments, and we've come from 30% during last summer up to 80% today using it on a daily basis.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
I think like our goal as finance people is to select a solution, enterprise grade, set up the governance, and then track adoption to make sure that people are using, testing, maybe discovering new use cases.
yeah. So you've scaled a fair bit. Started off in AP and you've taken this further. Tell me just a little bit more about how you went about scaling.
Um, Well, I think that going to scale, I think we are still on the way.
Mhm.
But I think that first of all we equipped everyone with the tool, and we asked them to kind of follow kind of a 5-step roadmap. Maybe for this one I can share something. Let me just 1 second. Because if you want to scale, we all know we need a bit of method and
Indeed. Yes. Yes.
and
And that was
I
what was
think that
behind my question, Pauline.
yeah. And so back to the method, to scale properly. First of all, I think you just forget super project for 3 years roadmap. I think we must start small. So back to my advice of what's the most boring thing you do each week for your team. And you don't need to focus on all the boring tasks because sometimes we have many, but just pick one. It can be AP, sometimes it's even like AR to payment reconciliation, been there in the previous life. Sometimes order to cash is as messy as AP. And then I think you must invest some time to clean your data. Like for real, we know we saw the word reconciliations. AI can be powerful. It's even more powerful when the data is clean and definitions are uh, rightly set. So I would say you standardize the field, you fix inconsistencies of, this NA or like empty cells that are not really good to make AI powerful. And therefore, you have, let's say, good foundation for AI to build reports on, to improve accuracy and limit the hallucination effect that you may have with the LLM willing to fill every empty cell, if I can picture it this way. And then I already told about Dust internally at Spendesk, but you have to choose the tool wisely. Look at your like contract management with Google or Microsoft for your enterprise solution for spreadsheets or workspaces. Maybe you already have some AI features including in it. You just need to activate it. We are CFOs, we need to make some savings, or you need to find the tool and negotiate, obviously. But then you need to make sure that what ROI you are looking for, improving accuracy, limiting the time spent on manual tasks, or boosting adoption and productivity across the board. And above all, if it does not fit your technology stack, if using a CRM like your ERP, let's make a pre-check that from a technical perspective, it all fits together. Otherwise, it might be a longer project. And then, of course, you run a pilot. You decide the KPI you want to focus on this very first thing, boring thing you decided to delegate to AI, and then you run it fast. You try to build an agent. It can be quite immediate to prompt it. But then you take some time, maybe 6 to 8 weeks to test it, to make sure that you don't have any exception, that it's like you are happy with the accuracy, you minimize the hallucination effect, and then you can like move it to production, like use it live for your real finance operations. And last but not least, you need to set the governance from day one. You need to protect the data you're using. You need to set clear policy on who's got access to what. I've been working a lot with our head of data. We have the chance to have one to make sure that the data used, for instance, with like for my commercial team and my finance information are not spread out the entire organization. You can have bad surprises. You just don't want that for your own data. Never use your, personal GPT for anything else than personal things. And you have to determine the role based. For instance, like my accountant does not have the same access as my VP sales, for instance, or FP&A controller. Voilà. I don't want it to be too academic, but it's really actionable.
Yeah, and I think you've hit on a number of the things that I certainly hear about on a regular basis, or people tell me they're worried about on a regular basis. I, um, I've heard a lot of folk ask, where do I start with AI? Actually, you've got step two on your chart there, Pauline, clean your data.
Mm.
AI, as we know, does hallucinate. If you give it dodgy data, you're going to get a dodgy answer. So even before you start trying to run AI on anything, clean your data is a big, big message. But you know, governance and security are th things that I hear a lot of people being really concerned about. Pauline, are you how happy are you with the governance you've managed to put around what you've implemented?
Um, Well, I think that at Spendesk, as a fintech company, we are pretty sensible to data management, data privacy. We have a banking operation system, so we have the right culture for that. I'm quite satisfied with the way we govern it, but I think it's not going fast enough when it comes to connecting my ERP, integrating the data. I think that AI is not the ultimate solution we were all waiting for. I think it can be powerful if we, let's say, prioritize where we can gain the best ROI for the company. So, for instance, we decided in our data roadmap to set our commercial data right, set for AI to be plugged in. And then finance information will come second because we are already not too bad using Spendesk like ourselves. But I think that you cannot underestimate you know, the investments you must make financially and from your team's people's, your team's time to make sure that you scale it at the right pace and that in 1 year you will be in a better place on this.
So what's the reality of where you've got to so far? What do you think you've achieved?
Well, I think that today, what I've achieved, I think I'm not at the same, let's say, stage for all my team. For accounting, I think that using Spendesk, our own tool already, and using AI to, let's say, perform some reconciliation and data checks already. I would say that for accounting, I'm already pretty advanced. We are using it for, like, we are using our advanced AP module, reconciling, the three-way match, doing the connection in the whole procure to pay procure to pay stream, and we get some OCR technology, so which is kind of AI, for anything come to invoice recognition.
Yeah.
So I think we are pretty good on this side. I think that on FP&A, strategic FP&A, I like to use it much more to do some sensitivity scenario analysis. Today, EPM, like planning module, are quite expensive, sometimes difficult to maintain. I think that we have an angle here to use AI a bit more in our beloved spreadsheets to get it a bit more dynamic and easy to, like, with a, let's say, easier way to prompt the Excel formulas, and so to gain a bit productivity. And I would say the like on the procurement side, many people mentioned contract review. I think there is like my AI champion is my head of legal. So
Yeah.
he's not a pure finance guy, but he's the one finding, like, seeing the potential of productivity. I have not backfilled one legal counsel who left, uh, while he was a junior one, not a senior one, but I kind of augmented the productivity of the team using AI systematically to get, a legal newsletter flowing into AI. For instance, the new Data Act. What should I do? What is the roadmap on that in Europe? Um, what are the risks for my companies? How should I label my contract? I think that this whole work powered by AI is really accelerating the team, who's got at the end the final word and the like final word and the, let's say, judgmental call on the data, but it accelerates a lot the research portion of their job. It's impressive.
And
Same on the procurement.
in a similar way, in Grow CFO, we've just completed our ISO 27001 registration. And literally, it was myself and our head of sales and marketing, Zoe, that did it between us. But, if we didn't have AI to review some of the pre-written policies we picked up and to adapt things to fit our business model, it would have taken us, I think, twice as long as it actually did. It is brilliant at looking at legalistic sort of things, writing new contracts, writing new clauses to cover ISO for us, all sorts of things in that area. It was just brilliant at. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I used it to as I've been a new CFO, I've been in a new position for, like, it's been 6 months now. I was keen on reviewing some key contracts, and let's be honest, I just downloaded them in my, Dust environment with my very private agent, um, and um, and it summarized all the terms, like especially when it comes to payment. And then I asked some benchmarks from public data, and I had insights without any solicitation of my team. This is
Yeah.
pretty powerful, even to, let's say, delay any hiring in your team. If you need to do more with less, well, I think that you cannot afford not to get AI on your desk.
And actually, I think that's the big thing in finance. We need to do more with less or do more with the same. Certainly all the way through the life of Grow CFO, we've been talking to various members of Grow CFO about who've asked the question, what size should my finance team be? Normally because they're in a situation that they're in a scale-up company and the company is growing faster than the finance team. So the question is, well, we're now at this stage, what should the team look like? And the team is always, always lagging behind where it needs to be. I actually think AI is giving us the tool not to reduce headcount, but to actually help us catch up as finance people. Yeah.
I think it can help us catch up, but even on headcount, I would like to. I had the chance to be the moderator of a debate with someone from OpenAI.
Mm.
She was the head of technical accounting for them, and so she was quite experienced working at PwC before, but I think she had a call out on headcount, and she was saying that scaling a team with AI, it's a lot of cost avoidance because you can scale a bit more with the same number of headcounts. So not saying that we will have any job losses, but tomorrow with some accountants that are a bit more, let's say, comfortable with data, now we can prompt in plain English. We don't need to get any Python or coding skills. We can do it in plain English. It's just about the way we want to structure things. I think we can do some savings even on the size of our teams, but I think that today it's just about catching up with all the things we have to do and
Yeah,
not really
yeah,
like thinking about that.
yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. Oh, of the CFOs that you're in contact with, have you seen tools that they're using that might be different to ones that you're using?
Well, I think that some CFOs are really like, tech, like testing a lot of innovative products. I saw some CFOs mentioning they are actually leveraging on data engineers to build some scripts themselves in Python to reconcile data sets between with each other. And some other I already using for procurement. Like this vendor thing and like any agentic pricing intelligence to renegotiate, for instance, like software subscriptions, and it can bring a lot.
Interesting, yeah.
Right.
That Spendesk itself, so moving away from your finance team, but thinking about the product that your company sells. Now,
Mm.
how are you building AI into the Spendesk solution? What's work?
Well, I think, yeah. And so I will just share a slide here just to make it a bit more visual. We are already using AI and automation, especially when it comes to spend management. But again, I think this is where we can get some good ROI to optimize our finance ops. And today we are already using AI to generate, PR from quote and do like three-way matching. We are, I think, AI using powering AI for fraud and anomaly detection. That can be something growing with AI as well, like because fraud is also kind of improving and getting more sophisticated with AI. So I think this is a part where we really need to be up to date with some um, like state of the art solutions. And we are definitely using AI to build a budget in spreadsheet that you will be soon, quite soon, able to drop into your Spendesk environment to get some live budget follow up. And last but not least, dynamic approval workflow. We can, with AI, we might be able to recognize quite easily spend type, expense category, analytical conditions, depending just on the reading of an invoice. So that might reduce a lot the procure to pay um, operations we must do with, let's say, human touch, and then obviously like boost the productivity of the team.
Hmm. So there's a lot going in there, Pauline, at the moment.
Yeah, I think with the strong focus of reduce the manual work and while ensuring like compliance and accuracy remain at the very same level, let's say like close to 100%.
Yeah. So how much did you get to try out before it got released to the public?
Well, I have the chance today. We are working on two agents that we might release soon, and I am in the alpha testers for AI-powered vendor intelligence agent, helping you because we have like 10 years of spend data of our customers. We can use to train an agent and to provide to our customers some good intelligence on the pricing. For instance, I'm working with Salesforce, taking some intelligence on that, on given the size of my company, the sector I'm in, the features I'm using. Am I paying the fair price with them, or should I renegotiate my term, knowing that the agent might be able to get the renewal date of my contract and summarize, like let's say, the main challenges depending on each vendor. I'm also working on, let's say, testing our next travel agent, which will be working in, let's say, plain English mode. You can ask for a travel and then it can book it automatically. You don't have to click everywhere to select your train, select your flight, or whatever hotel. So a lot of time saved for finance people, but also for users of the platform.
Yeah. So, Pauline, if people were leaving this session today and doing just three things starting tomorrow, next Monday, whatever, what should they be? What are the three key things?
I think that the first thing, like AI is not replacing us, but it will absolutely transform how we work if we focus it where it matters most. So not replacing, but augmenting our skills. Um, and I think that if you need to start somewhere, you select the most boring task that you have in your current processes, because this is on those tasks that you will build the momentum and drive more adoption eventually to embrace AI for by all your the people you're managing.
Yeah,
And I think that last but not least, take a look at your data, take a look at your finance stack. And I think the beginning of the year is the perfect moment to do an audit of that and to assess like best ROI for your finance operation, but also for your company. In my company, using AI also for talent acquisition, it's been quite an ROI, financial ROI that we were very happy to get. Not the topic for today, but I think that we should look at all our function and assess the return on investment that AI in ops could bring.
yeah. Good advice. Great advice. We've got a few questions coming through. Couple of questions are really focusing on ChatGPT and an anonymous attendee, wonder who that is. Are you sending company confidential information into ChatGPT? And is that acceptable, but to your IT security department? As I've heard, this is a limitation to the adoption of AI in sensitive areas like finance data.
Well, I think that no one should ever send any data to the public free GPT version, even a paid one, which is a personal one. I think this is a terrible idea. We are using an enterprise grade solution, and before we had the corporate subscription to GPT only before we moved to Dust to get access to other LLMs. But I would not recommend to put any data in a like random one, um, because it will be trained with, so you just don't want that, and your
Yeah,
IT guy will be quite pissed with that.
absolutely. I mean, think very carefully when you're putting anything you would regard confidential into a
And
GPT.
on this, to be fairly honest, as this is a learning in public webinar, I'm not using this for payroll data, for instance, because I'm not satisfied today with the level of confidentiality offered by my environment. So still work in progress.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And that's something that then comes back to Spendesk as the solution. And as you're building AI into Spendesk, how are you making sure within your own solution that stuff stays confidential?
Um, well, that's a good point. I think that so first of all, we are fully compliant with the GDPR privacy when it comes to anonymize the data and treat it carefully. We have a dedicated chief privacy officer, and we are like doing it. I see the webinar for, sorry, I got
I
unfocused
just thought while we
for
were
a
talking, Pauline,
second.
I just put that final poll up, just asking
Okay,
people if they wanted to know more. We don't need to talk about that. People can just answer it. Sorry.
okay. Um, so what was the question again? I'm so
I
sorry.
was
Like
talking about
how are we guaranteed the data is
how
not
you
used for,
making sure
well,
you
yeah. No, no, we are not we are fully compliant with the regulation in each country we are operating in. So mainly like France, the UK, and Germany. And when we are when we will use our data, this is proprietary data, but fully anonymized when it comes to sensitive data to train our agent for sure. It's a topic which is taken quite seriously. I think by my company and by all the fintechs working with a lot of finance data.
yeah. Abby's asking an interesting question. How do you map out the use cases and workflow? I find the challenge on starting is what workflows are we doing and how can AI possibly benefit these workflows? That is a great question, Abby. I think that's the problem that hits a lot of people here. We've got lots and lots of processes and workflows across finance.
Mm.
How do we work out which workflow where put the whole thing together, so on and so forth?
Well, I would just like share my screen again, just answering this question. But I think that it's because maybe working in a tech company, mapping a lot our system and data, I'm a bit already convinced by that. But I think the first step before cleaning the data is also to know where your data is stored and on what data, let's say, sets your process rely on. For me, like arriving as a new CFO 6 months ago, my first question to the head of data was for order to cash, procure to pay, record to report. I want to have a clear picture of where the data is set, who's owning which process. And I was pretty happy with the, let's say, level of maturity of the insight that I had from my head of data. But I would say if in your company you are not feeling fully comfortable with that, I think this is the first thing to do even before cleaning the data.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
and I think this tech map, it helps me a lot. I co-built it with my marketing VP. But I think at the end, this is like helping me a lot focusing on, okay, here are the process I'm working on. I own them for the company. This is where I have the best ROI.
Yeah. Pauline, a few people are saying in the chat that there's a lot on that slide. It's very difficult to read on the screen. Is there any way we can share that with the audience?
Oh, yeah, sure. I will share it right away.
Yeah, and we can potentially mail it out to folks afterwards. Yeah,
I will share it right now in the chat. And
brilliant.
I'm very happy to. And sorry, I have so many screens sharing mine. Um,
Oh, yeah,
and here you go.
right. We have a couple of minutes left. Anonymous is asking, is there a course you're able to recommend in AI that's suitable for senior finance professionals? Actually, that is something we are actually trying to address within Grow CFO. So please go along to the Grow CFO website, you know, sign up as a Grow CFO free member to start off with if you aren't a full member, and have a look at the list of courses that's sitting there at learngrowcfo.net. Um, Pauline, have you done any good courses on AI? Anything that's going on in the spend desk world?
I think I've been learning the hard way, using it every single day, and really like having like kind of a endless curiosity when it comes to identify what's boring in my day or if it's consuming my time too much, and trying to, push it in dust and see what's, sorting out. Personally, during my budget phase, when it comes to OPEX review and vendor, let's say savings, I used it a lot for benchmarking my OPEX structure and how much I spend with some vendors. And I find some pretty valuable insights. It's more kind of assisting AI rather than agentic doing process and doing tasks on my behalf. But this is how I use it on a daily basis.
Yeah. So Abby's saying can't see the chat that's sent. Just click on the webinar chat, Abby. And if you just look at the bottom of the chat, you should see the link that Pauline has pasted in there. Okay. Um, if you can't get a hold of that, I will try and ask our support people to maybe send that out to folk afterwards. Um, okay. Gosh. Erica is saying this is amazing contact. I'm working through some of the terminology with additional resources because I'm a small business co-owner who stepped into the CFO role and we're growing. My sister, friend, and I built our cleaning business from the ground up. I could clean with the best of them, but now my role has shifted to CFO and head of HR, which is a completely different skill set. Yeah, there's a challenge. That's why I'm here. Erica, glad you have found this really useful. That's really useful. And we've hit 5 o'clock, Pauline. It's a shame. I think we could easily go on talking for another half hour here, but what we've gone through has been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much for today. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Well, thanks to you. And like I think you heard it, I'm French, so I'm very sorry for all the mistakes I've done. I did my best. And I was very pleased to be with you today, sharing my own experience with, I hope, a bit of humility, because I'm just like you, learning every day something new. So
Yeah,
we just need to keep up.
yeah, yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. Look forward to the next time we meet. Take care. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming along today. We'll have another webinar in a couple of weeks' time exploring something else, more than likely in the AI area once again. Nearly every webinar at the moment seems to be AI. So keep your eye out on the Grow CFO newsletter and see what's coming up next, folks. Okay. Thank you and goodbye.